It do what it do, what it do, everybody. Y'all already know who it is. Back, more reactions for y'all. This time, we're gonna get into some Marvel news. Since we got Doomsday coming out and then we got Secret Wars coming out, and there's been some stuff about Secret Wars now that they're gonna be possibly splitting it up into two movies, which is very interesting. And I believe wholeheartedly that they should introduce it into do it into two movies because there's so much story to tell. Same thing like Doomsday. Like I don't know how they're gonna fit it all into one movie for Doom and all this stuff because there's a lot of story to tell and he hasn't been, introduced or anything like that in the other movies. And they gotta cram it all into one movie and then Secret Wars, you're gonna have so much going on. It's gonna be so much that I don't think you can actually put it in one movie. I believe there should be two movies. And like I said, we got Den of Nerds. He actually got some news on it and talking about it and everything like that. And I wanted to watch this video and get my reaction to it and see what they're talking about because, like I said, I do believe that Avengers Secret War should be split up into two movies. And like I said, there's just so much to tell and so much going on, so many characters, everything. So let's get into it. See what Den of Nerds is talking about, and make sure y'all go check out his channel. He does have a lot of updates and everything on anything Marvel, the comic books, anything that's going on right now, especially Marvel, since Doomsday and everything comes out this year, and all the speculations. It's like so much stuff going on. It is crazy, and he's doing reports day by day on stuff. So, like I said, go check out Den of Nerds for all the Marvel news. But I'm gonna go ahead and react to this video, see what they got going on, and see what they talking about. Let's get into it.
Secret Wars up into two separate movies.
Yes! 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 Yes!
This is coming from not one, but two different insiders. There's some details about it that's blowing my fucking mind. I mean, can you imagine what this would actually be like? This would be extending this whole time period of like hype and speculation and fun with these Avengers characters and, the older Fox X-Men characters and all of that. That would be extending that to an extra year. So it's not just 2026 and 2027, it would be into 2028. The wild part is that there are older rumors that talked about how Marvel was considering this even years ago. The planned story that they have for Secret Wars is incredibly ambitious, and there has been a lot of thought of
Then they said it depends on how Doomsday do, and if they're gonna split it up into two movies, from what I heard too. So they said it depends on how Doomsday is gonna do in box office and everything like that, and they'll split it into two movies, which I don't even think they have to worry about box office because Doomsday is gonna do numbers. I believe it's gonna do numbers, and I believe they should just go ahead and split it into two movies because, like I said, you got a lot of story to tell and everything like that. So that's my opinion.
Splitting that into multiple movies. And I remember when it was first announced that they were going to do the Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars, there was actually a third movie that hit the trademark thing, and it was Avengers Eternity War, and everybody just was like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if that could possibly be a third movie, and what they're actually planning here with Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars is a trilogy. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's talk about the new reports, man. There's a lot I gotta say about this. I have to yap heavily about this, and we'll talk about all the different possibilities, why I think they should do this. But let's begin with the new stuff. So this all started when John Roca said on the Hot Mic podcast that this is something he has heard from sources. That's it. That's what started the whole thing. Like, and by the way, I think John took that video down because this started to blow up. It's absolutely blowing up on social media right now. A lot of people talking about it, as is the case with a lot of things that's going on with these Avengers movies. They seem to be the talk of the town, as it were. So John starts talking about this, but then Daniel RPK backs John up and posts a scoop to his Patreon in which not only does Daniel say this is true, but Daniel says Marvel is gonna look at the success of Doomsday and then decide whether or not they want to split Secret Wars into two films. Now let's start there with Daniel's report because that's fascinating. I think what Daniel means to say is that Marvel wants to see how much money Doomsday makes before before they commit to doing 2 more movies that follow up to that story, right? I think that if this Doomsday movie makes 1.5, maybe $2 billion, which I absolutely think is a possibility, man. Like, I think this movie has a chance to be very successful in spite of all the skepticism, in spite of Marvel's current, fall off state or whatever. I just think they got the gas. They're cooking with sauce. Like, dude, I think this movie's gonna blow up. But I don't know. I mean, we're watching a lot of movies that we thought were gonna do really well, kind of underperform, even though they're still doing well. And the theater experience is not what it was, and people aren't as excited about going to the movie theater. So theatrical is just down in general. So I don't know. Maybe Doomsday is hit with some of that. But I do think that's what Daniel's getting at. I think he's saying if there's enough money made in Doomsday, and Marvel feels like people are actually really excited to see the rest of the story in Battleworld, then Marvel would commit to doing 2 parts to Secret Wars. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Would love to know what you think about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Secret Wars.
To me, I think the movie is gonna do numbers. Like I said, it's obvious that it's gonna do numbers. I mean, everybody's getting that feel back again from like the old school Marvel. So I believe that it's gonna do numbers. And I do believe, like I said, I do believe that we're gonna be getting the Secret Wars Part 2 and 3. I do believe that. And I hope they do, because I rather them get the story right and show everything than rush it and try to pack it all into one movie. Like, I believe two-parters should be good. If they can do it, one next year and then the next one the following year like that, I say do it. My honest opinion.
Feels like a movie that will be in a entirely new setting. It will be in this new universe that Victor Von Doom has created. And if the concept art that leaked out is to be believed, then the aesthetic or the sort of style of like the clothing and the architecture and basically the whole world will resemble something like Marvel's 1602 or Battleworld from Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars event. Ironically, those leaks, the concept art leaks, must have also given confidence to Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios that they could potentially do 2 Secret Wars movies, because the response to those leaked images was incredible. I mean, we did a lot of videos and streams covering it, and it really did excite a lot of folks. I think there's just something fresh.
Yeah, it did. When they came out with them leaks, boy, that excited everybody. And I remember doing a video on it too when they did the leaks, and us seeing a futuristic Black Panther and in the futuristic world that Doom created, Battle World and all this stuff, and it looks interesting. Like, it really does. It got me real excited. I was like like a fanboy again, ready to go see the movie. Man, well, yeah, let's get back into it.
About doing that. Us hardcore comic fans, we know there's precedence, and again in 1602 and in Hickman's things. But for normies, they just loved seeing like a Hulk that looked like he was behind this wall in a medieval time. They loved the concept art leaks of Battleworld, man. It just seemed to be cool. People thought it was sweet, and that's awesome. So again, that's probably a cosign. That's probably another reason why Marvel feels comfortable about maybe doing this. And to be honest with you, these rumors are old, man. These rumors are old. Like, ever since around the time of Quantumania, there was this big leak that suggested that Marvel was thinking about taking the Secret Wars story and splitting up into 2 parts. And I remember the trademarks that came out all the way back when it was going to be Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars. There was that 3rd movie that was trademarked that was Eternity War. Do you guys remember that? I'm sure a lot of you do. All I'm saying is there's some signs in the past and some old leaks and rumors that suggested that Marvel was always considering splitting Secret Wars into 2 parts. It's almost like Kevin's telling us, hey, I know you want 2 Secret Wars movies, you freaking nerds. Well, guess what? You better show up to Doomsday like 1,000,000 times, because if you don't, then you're only getting 1 Secret Wars movie. And it's like, that'll work for me. I will fucking go many a time, man. I need 2 Secret Wars movies. In fact, let's just talk about that. Why would this be such a good idea? It seems like a lot of the heavy lifting of the story of these like actual Marvel characters is going to happen in Secret Wars. I just did a big video talking about the twist with RDJ, right? I have my...
Yeah, because I've heard reports too that basically in Doomsday, you're not gonna get a lot of why this and why that. Like, it's just basically Doom coming to do what he do You're not gonna get the reason why he looks like Tony Stark and stuff like that. And um, they're saving all that for Secret Wars. So like when Secret Wars come out, then you're gonna get the answers to a lot of the questions that haven't been answered in Doomsday. And so just to be on the lookout for y'all, if y'all when y'all go see that movie and y'all see why they don't explain stuff, then just know that they're actually gonna be explaining it in Secret Wars. So just little food for thought there.
Theories about why they cast RDJ, why he looks like Tony Stark, right? And I've talked about that in many videos. But one of the new things we know is that that is likely going to be explored in Secret Wars. So whatever the explanation is, maybe it's my theory, maybe it's some other crazy thing, whatever it is, it's going to be explained in Secret Wars. I think that's because Secret Wars is going to be the heavy lifting of the story and tying things together, which is so fascinating, right? Because technically we'll be seeing heroes in a much different light, as some of them will just exist in their battle world form, and then some will likely be people that survived from the old universes and remember what it was like. And I mean, going all the way back to one of the early leaks from Paul from Heavy Spoilers, he had a report where a source told him that they're going to have Scarlett Johansson be an evil version of Black Widow in the Secret Wars movie. And I've talked a little about this in different videos and streams too, but it's starting to feel like the OG evil Avengers is going to be really explored in Secret Wars. That what Secret Wars might play with is this.
Yeah, see, that part I didn't know about. I knew about the evil Avengers. I thought they was going to be introduced in Doomsday, but all the reports I've been hearing from Doomsday and everything been hearing, haven't really been hearing any reports about the Secret Avengers. I've been hearing about the Cabal and stuff like that in Doomsday and stuff like that. And then, like I said, Denim Nerds right now is talking about basically that they're saving all that for Secret Wars. So you're going to see the evil versions of superheroes versus regular superheroes in Secret Wars. So like I said, being flushed and putting it in 2 movies, I believe that they should, because it's gonna be so much story to tell to rush Secret Wars. And I don't want them to rush it. I want them to actually do it right and make sure they just, be on point with it. It doesn't have to be a perfect movie, but just be on point with it and explaining a lot of what's going on.
World in which the characters we recognize from the Infinity Saga are there in a villainous form, and it's up to like the new Avengers and maybe some of the champions or the young Avengers and some of the children characters to find these versions of the heroes and get them to remember their heroic selves from their other universes, and then like turn on Doom, start to have a rebellion and ultimately overthrow God Emperor Doom. Maybe it's not exactly that, but it definitely feels like a lot is going to be happening in Secret Wars, like more than I even thought was going to be happening in that movie, because I thought maybe some of the stuff would be in Doomsday, but no, really seems like Doomsday is just a car crash, and then Secret Wars picks up the pieces, backtracks a bit, and explains things. And if that is what it is, then we absolutely deserve 5 to 6 hours of story in that world. I mean, I think it's worth exploring all the different elements. There's so many different characters. There's so much you're trying to accomplish, and there's a lot of nerdy fun to be had with things like the Thor core, things like maybe the Wall, the Green Zone, Spider Island. There's so many different things that you can do. And I also always thought, when hearing the rumors of Secret Wars, like which we've been hearing for years at this point, I always personally thought, well, it would be a shame to only have that be one movie. I remember talking about the Battle World movies, right? This was a rumor that also existed around the time when we got that whole rumor of Secret Wars being split into 2 parts. There were rumors that they had Battle World projects, whether they be Disney Plus series or actual movies that would exist within the Battle World setting. Like, it seems like Doom is going to create Battle World, and then in Secret Wars, for the duration of Secret Wars, there is no multiverse. There's just Battle World. That's it. But that allows you to have an incredible...
That would have been cool if they would have explained, Battle World and stuff like that, and like Disney Plus episodes and things like that. That would be cool, because you would get a chance, because they said from end of Doomsday to beginning of the beginning of Secret Wars, where it's going to start off at, is going to be an 8-year time jump. And so you're going to have 8 years of stuff that you can talk about what happened between those 8 years up and leading up until the events that starts off Secret Wars. That would be pretty cool. But I know Marvel's not going to do it because they don't want to oversaturate the market again. So they're cutting back on a lot of that stuff. But I remember them talking about doing the whole different, talking about different areas of Battle World, explaining different areas and showing different things going around and stuff like that. Would have been cool, but I know they don't want to oversaturate it again now because they overdid it before, trying to do too much and didn't turn out too good. So I get what they doing now.
Incredible setting where you can tell a lot of fun stories, and we know this because that's what Marvel Comics did when Jonathan Hickman was doing his Secret Wars. So I have always been of the mind that you should extend the Secret Wars time as much as possible. And I don't know, man, it's weird because we're hearing this stuff about this X-Men movie, right? They're doing like an X-Men movie with Jake Schreier, and that's probably really a traditional X-Men movie. But I can't help but think, like, dude, what if that was a Battle World movie? What if it's the 616 X-Men on Battle World? And I know that's probably way too nerdy, way too crazy, but I also thought about Blade, man. I was like, dude, you could have Wesley Snipes Blade and Mahershala Ali Blade literally side by side. They find each other in the wastelands of Battle World, and they both remember the old universe or something, and they're there to try to stop God Emperor Doom. Like, it's the thing that's great about Secret Wars from a comic book perspective is that Battle World allowed for just so much comic book fun to be had. It was awesome. There's this whole place where it's nothing but Hulks, right? The Green Isle or the Green Land or whatever, I don't know. So if it works from a story perspective, and it could, like, I really think there's enough here just from what I've been thinking about what the story is going to be and then how it will be resolved on Battle World. There is enough there for a 5-6 hour movie that, again, could be split into 2 parts. I think it's also just worth it to have that amount of time for the Marvel fandom to be loving this setting, this sandbox, this new thing. And I think there's plenty of time for tie-ins, maybe a Disney Plus project, like maybe Vision Quest is set on Battle World. You know, that would be fascinating. One thing I do want to say here, though, as a note of caution, and this is only because it literally happened in the comic books, was they had a delay in the last issue of Secret Wars, and like Hickman was kind of stuck on the ending, and it was just like a difficult thing, right? It was delayed. And so Marvel ended up publishing a whole bunch of books that were supposed to happen after Secret Wars, before Secret Wars was concluded. And look, in some ways Marvel Comics actually has never recovered from that. It was just like, honestly, terrible idea, and most people didn't check out the new books and then were reluctant to get on board with those ongoings afterwards. And that's because everybody didn't want any spoilers. They just wanted to know what was going to happen in the Secret Wars conclusion. And so if Marvel actually pushes their own MCU conclusion with RDJ, Doctor Doom, and the Secret Wars film to a whole nother movie, then they have to delay everything else outside of 2028. Like, you can't do the new X-Men on 616 and give us spoilers. No, thank you. Push everything. And I think take advantage of the time you have and maybe do another a Battle World project. And you know what's funny too? Dude, we heard crazy rumors of like George Miller doing either like a Planet Hulk movie or doing a Thor 5 or whatever movie, and it was going to be like gritty and hardcore. And I remember even those rumors, we were like, that's kind of interesting. That could be Battle World. And even Doc Strange technically could work as a Battle World movie. I mean, there's a lot that they could do here, but
he ain't lying. There's a lot that they can do. Like I said, that 8-year time jump from End of Doomsday to Secret Wars, it's a lot you can explain about what's happening within those 8 years. That's crazy.
Probably getting ahead of myself. I'm probably getting a little too fanboyish here. Maybe what really ultimately matters is that the movies are good and that people are having a good time and that the story and the character moments and everything that's going to happen in Secret Wars is great and leaves fans satisfied and re-engaged in Marvel and excited to see what happens next. That's the whole thing. And yeah, so look, I've said a lot in this video, but ultimately I really hope this ends up being true. I hope they split Secret Wars into 2 films. You let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. You made it to the end of the video, and that means you either forgot that this video was playing or you thought this video was pretty good. If you thought it was good, smash a like on the video. I hate asking, but it actually works. The last time I asked, which was just last video, we got more likes, and I think it was good. I do hate saying it, but shut up and like the video, please. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see see you in the next video.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, like I said, to me, I'd be honest, I think they should split it up into 2 movies. I do. So much story to tell with so many characters and stuff like that. Split it up. I believe they just do it. Um, like I said, go check out Den of Nerds, y'all. If he's always posting stuff about Marvel, he's on top of it all the time. So I've been watching a lot of his stuff. And I appreciate the news and everything. Some stuff I do hear before I see the videos. I just don't ever post anything, but I'll hear it, and I just be wanting to verify and make sure that the same sources that I watch are hearing the same news, because I don't want to, talk about no false stuff and fake stuff like that. And but yeah, ooh, these movies are gonna be huge, y'all. I'm letting you know that now. So if you ready, like I am, then y'all be ready for the end of this year when Doomsday starts it off and everything, because it's gonna be epic. I can tell y'all that now. Man, yeah. Like I said, go check out Den of Nerds movies, comment, like all that stuff. Make sure to like my page also, like his page also. And yeah, ready for it. So comment all that good stuff. If y'all want to talk about anything, comment to your boy and talk to me about anything Marvel news or anything like that. So but until then, peace out. Y'all have a good day.